Hanging up on the club on the weekend. What?
Hey, buddy. No way. No.
That was not planned.
That's not planned. That is amazing.
I just been getting drunk with my best friend.
I was like, it would sound great right after the intro music hits is just a can opening. So let me just grab a beer real quick and just open it as soon as the music stops.
I had the same thought for a different reason, because we've kind of had this thing going on when we just hop on chat anyway. And I was like, let me just give him the crackle sound, and then he'll say, what? And then I'll go, a black raspberry LaCroix sparkling water. No?
Meanwhile, I'm drinking a Miller Lite out of a koozie.
Let's vent.
Let's vent.
Let's
I got
confess.
something to vent to you about. I have a confession. I just saved myself $1,000. So last month I was writing a story about major league teams and how they're spending their money, which coincidentally The Athletic just posted a piece today about basically the same thing I was writing about. But to get some sources, I had to sign up for LinkedIn Premium because you just can't get a hold of sources anymore. Used to just be able to, you could just DM anybody on Twitter. Now you have to have your blue check mark to DM. So I got that. And now some people took away their DMs entirely. So I tried LinkedIn and I found a source, but I had to get LinkedIn Premium. And I had my 1 month free trial, and it didn't tell me how much it cost after the 1 month trial was over. And I was like, oh, and then it kind of just slipped my mind. And I get a notification from my bank that says LinkedIn processed $1,000 payment for yearly subscription.
Ouch.
$1,000.
Ouch back.
So I'm freaking out.
What do you even get for $1,000?
Couldn't tell you. When I was canceling it, they kept on trying to say, "Are you sure you're going to miss out on all this?" Like, I never use it. I don't even know what that is. And so I was freaking out. I had to call my girlfriend. I'm like, "What do I do?" She's like, "You're going to have to message them and say, hey, you don't use this. You're a unemployed college student and you can't afford $1,000 for LinkedIn Premium." And I just had that case resolved. So they're refunding me that money. So thank God.
Who is, LinkedIn or your bank?
LinkedIn.
Okay. Good job, LinkedIn. You tried, but scams don't work today, kid.
Bro, when I got the push notification that $1,000 processed, my heart sank. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know it was that much. I mean, I have had to sign up for LinkedIn Premium myself before, and that was just like, I don't know if it was for DMing. Oh, it's for being able to see who's viewed your profile. For some reason, you can only see like one person per week or something like that. And if another person views after that, then you can't go back and see who the other person was before that. So you got to have LinkedIn Premium to access that feature. And
Jesus.
Right. You got to put a card down. It's just outrageous because sometimes it's like a business journal website or something, and they'll offer, or if it's like your local newspaper, it's like $1 a week or $1 a month. And then
that's what I kind of thought it would be.
If you want to go read Axios Pro, it's like $500 a month. If you want LinkedIn Premium, it's $1,000 a month.
So
what
it was
am I getting for this?
It was like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which I only thought I signed up for Premium. Apparently, it was a Sales Navigator through LinkedIn, just so I could get a source for a story, because that's the only way I could message him. And I didn't even use any of his quotes.
Okay. You went the full-on robust enterprise option.
Dude, I couldn't get a hold of this person no matter what for this story. I'm like, I really would like to have this person. and his Twitter was no DMs. He had nothing, no other type of social. His LinkedIn was private, so you only way you could get a hold of him was through signing up for LinkedIn Sales Navigator.
But
And
why now? Why would they do that?
right, why was he only
why
available
would
there?
he? Right, I get why LinkedIn would do that, but why is he doing that? Does he
Yeah.
know that like people have to pay $1,000 to
Does
reach
he
him?
pay
I guess.
$1,000 a year for this?
Right. Is he getting kickback from LinkedIn? Is he that popular? I'm not going to ask who he is or
No,
where
no,
he
he's definitely not that popular.
is. You're not that guy, pal.
Not that guy, pal. So that's why when
Oh
I saw
man.
$1,000 and I didn't even use his quotes in my story, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this can't happen. I have to fix this.
Mm-hmm. So that was your attempt at wasting money this week.
Oof.
Mine was going to the Giants and Sacramento A's game over the weekend.
Ooh, how was
And
that?
it was actually pretty clean. I'm not going to be one of those people who goes, fuck the Giants, fuck their stadium, I'm never going there, and hate on people who go.
Yeah.
You and I have ranked stadiums, I think, before, and if we haven't, it's a given that in the top 3, Oracle Park is going to be in there. I think it's called
Yeah,
Oracle
no,
now,
it's
right?
beautiful. We could despise the team and the city. It's still a beautiful ballpark.
It's up, yeah. It's no doubt up there. And so I've said it, I don't know if I've said it on the pod, but I've told you that, hey, with the A's gone, I still got to see live baseball. I'm not going to live
You
my
got to get your
life not being
fix.
able to see live baseball. When you were in San Diego, you attended a lot of Padres games. This is before,
Yeah.
we even like talked about them as fans. And that was to see live baseball. That was the live team that was in your city. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, now, I'm going to go to Giants games. They're going to get my money, my ticket, whatever. So I was looking forward to it, and I've been meaning to go. And so this is my first time going, pretty much since the A's have been in Sacramento. It just so happened to be A's Giants. Didn't intend on it. Actually got hooked up because my cousin, his work paid for a bunch of tickets and a huge tailgate. I didn't even know you had tailgates at Giants games. And
Yeah. Could
this
you
is
even
like
tailgate? That's
so
crazy.
they rented out like an entire parking lot at Pier 30, and the thing was massive. And so they had a bunch of like booths down one side, handing out free beer. And I mean, how do you not take that? How do you not take that offer? And then
I like
not
beer.
only that, I still like beer. And free food. So it was like brisket, beans, coleslaw, potato salad,
Just good
macaroni and
barbecue.
cheese. Just, oh, dude, it was perfect. And the perfect food to eat before you're going to drink a lot. And so had a bunch of like free Modelo's. And then we walked down the Embarcadero to the game. And I was like, okay, so where are the seats at? And then my cousin's like, they're up in like the third deck. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm not hating on
Cool.
it. They're free tickets.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you guys just want to like find some beer down here first? And I was like, yeah. Let's do that. So I was actually thinking that the park was going to have a lot better beer options in at least the vicinity I was in. So we walk in and we do a lap. You got to do the lap.
It's mandatory. Anytime I go to a ballpark, you got to do a lap.
Right. So before I started looking for beer, we headed straight to right field. So we walk across like the not bridge, but whatever's above the McCovey Cove, like that right field area. Walk around there, and then waiting forever for my cousin to use the bathroom. So I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna go get a beer. Like I've been in the ballpark now for over 5 minutes, and I haven't
there's no beer in my hand.
attempted to get a beer yet. Like this is not, it's not right.
Yeah.
So fuck this, I'm gonna go get a beer. So I walk towards center field, and it's freaking packed. Like that's where they sell the crab cakes, and they just have all those like special vendors out in center. And so I was like, I'm not getting it here, but I did stop by like one that kind of seemed like a normal you know how at the Coliseum they would have like the normal looking vendors, like Coliseum dogs and sodas. It's just like
Yeah.
regular
Your
schmegular.
traditional ballpark vendor.
Right. I stopped by there, and all they had was, I think it was Coors Light, which wasn't bad. It was Coors Light and Coors. And so I'm with one of my cousins, and he's like, "What are you getting?" And I was like, "I'm gonna get a Coors." And he looks at me like, and I'm, "What do you mean? Like, it's a
It's the
banquet beer,
banquet beer.
right? What's wrong with that?" So I think he was thinking like, "Oh, you're not gonna like go find like an IPA or probably a better brand." So I was just like, "All right, fine, fuck it. I'm not gonna sit here and argue. I'm not gonna make you drink a beer that you don't want to drink. Let's go find a different one."
Mhm.
So I walk further, basically past the Coke bottle and left, to now
Oh
I
my
am now
God.
like left field, third base side. And you know how there's not like built-in vendors sometimes? They just kind of have a cart, and
Yeah.
it's those usually the craft vendors. At the Coliseum, it would be like Drake's. So
Mhm.
here, dude, it would be like a shock top or something. It was weird how like little of options there was. And
Mhm.
then I turn around, and there's this huge bar up against the wall, and there's like 3 different lines there. And there is where they had like multiple craft beers, but still wasn't a lot. I was underimpressed by the selection. Like, I should
Huh.
be stumbling into just like a plethora of options here. This is Oracle
Yeah.
Park, right?
Right.
I mean, you go to the Giants or you go to the Warriors arena, and there's just like massive bars everywhere with all the options you can think of, and like hard liquor, all of that. So I was a little underimpressed there. Um, and then a moment hit me when I had to use the bathroom. So I ended up in the same bathroom as maybe like 10 years ago when I noticed this. They have these like windows above their urinals that you could see straight out onto the street. So while
Huh.
you're pissing, you're looking at people on the street. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And but in that moment I realized this I'm there's no trough. Like, I'm pissing in just a urinal, and there's a line behind me waiting to piss in this single little urinal, when we
Yeah.
could just be so much more efficient with a trough right now. This is pretty whack, but it's different experiences. I'll say
Yeah.
that. All in all, good experience at the Giants game, and we ended up chilling for the most part in like the center field beer garden type, not
Yeah.
behind the scoreboard. It's actually in front of the scoreboard, and
Yeah.
they have like picnic chairs, and it was cool. We saw some people we knew, and it was a beautiful day outside too, so it wasn't even really that cold.
So what
So
was the first beer you got?
I think it ended up being a Modelo. I think we just stuck with Modelo.
All that work for a Modelo.
Right. It
Oh,
just, nothing made sense. I think that's like I didn't see a Drake's or a 21st Amendment or like a local beer that actually is good, and they just had
yeah.
like weird ones. And then it was, yeah, Coors would have been fine with me, but
Yeah,
it,
and
it, it
I
didn't
normally go the Modelo
didn't
route
fit.
now. I normally just get that right when I get into the stadium. So, all right, I'll get a Modelo right now and do my loop around.
Yeah, when I was at Dodger Stadium, I had the Estrella Jalisco,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, those go pretty well with your ballpark kind of process. You're gonna walk around, you're gonna scarf something down. If you spill it, oh well. It's just that,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still dummy expensive. So, but
Yeah,
'twas a good game.
yeah, that would going into that next time, that would grind my gears. So,
There's probably multiple things that grinded my gears from that game, but yes, do proceed.
man, with us taking this as like the new the number one segment of what grinds my gears, because there's always something that's grinding our gears. Something that just came out today is the NFL. They voted down the change of the tush push. They only missed it by like 2 votes from banning it. And I got to tell you,
Yeah, they
I'm
were
so
so
sick and
close.
tired of all these talking heads and all these people being like, they got to ban the tush push. It's just such a cheap play. It's all Stop it. Just stop it. One, it's a football play. It's like the definition of pre-forward pass football. And also, I get it. I might be somewhat in the minority here. Also, like, just because you can't stop it, don't go to the rule book for change. And like, also, everybody could do it. Why are the Eagles now tell me this. Why are the Eagles the only ones successful at this play? Every other team could run
I
it
was
on
trying to
4th and
figure that
1,
out.
but it's just the Eagles that have somehow perfected this. Why can't nobody else do it properly?
It's great question. I don't know. When the Wildcat got all popular, I mean, there was one team, the Dolphins, that did it really well, but other teams started to try it and do it well. I think the Patriots were okay at it.
Yeah, and you see it occasionally, and that's another thing. Like the tush push isn't like a trick play. It's not like a trick play or like a fancy play like the Wildcat was. It's literally just everybody 11 on 11 line up and they push forward. Like it's nothing. There's nothing fancy about it.
But that's the thing. It's not fancy. It is kind of it's an ugly play. You have wasn't this banned, and might still be banned? Is it still banned in college because of the Reggie Bush push?
Yeah, there's some. I should have did more research on that one.
I have to go look at it too. But what was that? 04 or somewhere around there, where USC's playing at Notre Dame and they're about to lose, but they're near the goal line. And then Leinart sneaks it in, and Reggie Bush comes up behind him and shoves him in. And I don't know if there was controversy or if all the attention around it,
you weren't allowed to like push somebody from behind.
So it was controversy then. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Not only was it a huge game, but yeah, it was an added element of controversy there. And so from that moment on, I always thought that was illegal. And I don't know if it was or not in the NFL at the time, but fast forward, over 15 years later, maybe 20 years later, and it is legal. The Eagles have perfected it, and it's still legal. But
as of today, it is. It almost lost. They only needed 2 more teams to vote yes on banning it.
So close.
I mean, like,
I counter
it's
your take
it's like
there
when
because
Steph
I don't
Curry took over. Like when Curry took over the NBA with revolutionized the 3-point shot. Other teams didn't complain about the 3-point shot. It's like, we got to ban the 3-point shot now. They just developed more 3-point shooters. They brought in more 3-point shooters. This team, the Eagles, perfected the quarterback sneak in a way that is legal in the NFL. Everybody else should be doing the same damn thing. I get it's not flashy and it's not going to get highlight reel stuff, but it works.
Yeah. Why haven't people already have been doing it, and why don't people start doing it is kind of the two big questions why to say that it should be allowed. But I would say, if you're not allowed to pick up a teammate and assist a teammate that way, then why can you get behind him and push him? Why can't fumble the ball forward? I mean, it seems a little bit cheap to just do that. As long as the quarterback is willing to just have his body punished and sandwiched like that, maybe that's the drawback for some teams. Yeah. You have to be strong enough to take that. But he seems like he gets away pretty clean most of the time anyway.
Yeah, he gets away clean almost every damn time. I don't know how hurt he's ever gotten on one of those. It just grinded my gears, like seeing today people complain about it, and then seeing all these NFL teams like, we got to change the rules because this one play, we can't stop it. That's what I got from it.
Yeah,
so that's what really grinded my gears.
It's pretty wussy to complain about something that you can't. I mean, just because you can't stop it. It's not that it was illegal You know, it wasn't the tuck rule. It wasn't something like
Ugh.
that was clearly either not the way it was called or what. But yeah, what do we do now? I mean, it's just going to keep happening, and other teams are going to have to try to mimic it. But here's the reason I don't like it too is that what it's just going to be then? Because if everyone now has to learn how to do that well, then that's going to be every single time it's 3rd and short, 4th and short. And that's just what the game is going to be. And
Or it's
now
just
we're
you have
just
to learn to
rugby.
stop it. Learn to stop it.
It's like rugby though, you know?
Yeah, I heard that argument as well.
If you just eliminate eliminate the ability for the running back or fullback or whoever to come behind the quarterback and push him. You could sneak. Sneak has always been allowed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't like the assist.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't bother me as much. But yeah. Rick,
There were
what's
some other
grinding your
rules.
gears? Oh, yeah, what other rules you got?
Well, no, there was some other rules. I think the Lions proposed one. It might have been on like playoff seating or something, but we could save that for next week because I don't know it off the top of my head. But there was like 4 or 5 other proposed rules that I wanted to track and see if they got approved or not. Something I noticed lately that has grinded my gears. We all got smartphones, you know, iPhones and whatever. And one of the, I guess, cool features of the phone is the ability to get news, you know, right away and instantly. And especially when it comes to transactions and scores and things, you know, it pops up on your phone right away. Well, we all know that you know that's called a push update, to keep it on the push theme here. But the other day I got a push update and it read, breaking, Caleb Williams reveals in new book that he tried to not go to the Bears at number 1, or you know, something along those lines. And I literally said out loud while driving, I was like, why the fuck do I need to know that right now? Why is that a push update?
Yeah.
Sorry, pardon my French, but okay, so Caleb Williams is writing a new book, and in it he revealed that he attempted to not get picked by the Bears at number 1. Didn't we already all know that he didn't want to go to the Bears?
Right. Yeah, and his dad didn't want him to go to the Bears. That was all already came out.
That was all over the place.
Why is that breaking news?
That was breaking news that he revealed that in his new book. So there's probably a stupid like pay to play thing here, like either Caleb or the book publisher paid ESPN to like promote this. But it got me to thinking, not everything needs to be a push update. The same way that not everything needs to be a goddamn tweet. When I won't name the player, but I think the Indiana Fever released or waived someone the other day. It might have been even the Valkyries. I don't know. But it goes for every team. Like they just release some bench player. Why does that need to be a tweet?
Cool. That's like,
what are we supposed to do with that? Like it and respond and complain, or why is that out there? That's a meaningless transaction. Why does everything have to
be turned into a discussion? It has to be turned into a debate. It has to turn into a discussion. It's like what we were talking about last week with sports TV now, sports talk TV. It's all just debate and whatnot. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get clicks now. Let's now everything is breaking news. No matter what happens, it's all breaking news now. It's like when we play MLB
Raiders
The Show.
Signed so-and-so to the practice squad. Like
it's like when we play MLB The Show, and on the bottom line they go, Connor Norby breaks out of 0 for 22 slump. Who cares? Cool. Awesome. I don't think anybody needed to know that. Connor Norby?
That's not a transaction or a headline news that I needed to know. And it grinds my gears if I get a push update like that. Where it is,
it's different if I'm scrolling through Twitter and a beat writer is just announcing a transaction. But if I'm getting a push notification that a bench player is been released, or a player has a new book coming out and who knows when, and here's a little tidbit from it, that's not breaking news.
It's so stupid. And you already know my preferences because you made me click those when I downloaded your app, and you asked who my favorite
Yep.
teams were. But
Yep.
no, don't. This isn't even NFL news. It's garbage. So yeah, it made me want to just either delete the app, or I know I probably should go in there and customize my push notification settings, but I shouldn't have to. You should just know that that's not push update worthy, guys. Come on, get with the
Yeah,
program. All right. I'm getting
that
all
is
hot and bothered now.
No, that got me because I instantly started claiming that as like my own grind in my gears because that really grinds my gears.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
So there was we've had like lists on here before, and of course that's every podcast and sports show ever.
right.
We try to go a little bit different with ours, and a little bit more about our personalities and things of that nature. Season 2, I think, is going to reflect that a little more. We were pretty heavy on the baseball season 1.
Yes.
And then it may have drifted into a little bit more general sports talk. But expanding, I think, is a good idea. And you had
We're
an
showing
idea
growth.
for...
We're growing.
Yeah, for whether it's a top 5 or just a 5. You had an idea for this week, so let's hear it.
Yeah, the segment is called the Confession Countdown. Like Rick said, everybody has like their Mount Rushmore segment or their top 5 segment or anything like that. So with us playing on Card Attend Confessions, this is our Confession Countdown. And today I wanted you to confess the 5 video games that either shaped your childhood or just shaped you as like a gamer as a kid. Confess 5 games that shaped your childhood, video games.
Thought about this, or I'm thinking about this, and easily could find 5 sports games that shaped my childhood. I'm going to assume that at least 3 of the 5 on yours are sports games.
At least 2, a third can be considered sports.
Okay. I'm just going to go, yeah. Should I just give you my 5? I'll give you my 5.
Yeah. You just give me your 5 and discuss them, and then I'll give you my 5.
Yeah. The first one is like one of the earliest games I ever played. So my first system was not even a Super Nintendo. It was a Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES.
Wow.
And yeah, it wasn't the first version of the NES like folded out and then you slid the cartridge in and pressed down like a VCR. It wasn't that one. It was the second edition that was top loading, and then you just push the power button up. And when I got that, it was actually a gift from my grandpa, and I don't know if I got all the games when he gifted it to me, but there's a kid down the street who like got a Super Nintendo, and then so all his NES games, his mom was like, well, you don't need these anymore, we're gonna give them to that kid. So I got all this kid's games.
What a come up.
And one of the games was a football game. It was basically the Pong of football. It was called 10-Yard Fight. And you start by picking like your difficulty. I think it's like Pee-wee, Pop Warner, high school, college, all pro, something like that. And then I don't even know if you got to pick teams. You might have got to pick like a few from a few different cities. But the game would kick off like right away, and it's a over the top view. Like you're not seeing
bird's eye view for like the Goodyear blimp.
Yeah. And so when you receive the opening kickoff, there are 8 guys around you, and you're running in like this pack, and you only can go straight, left, or right, or back. There's no diagonals here because you're just using the D-pad on the NES. And when you run, the game makes a noise, goes, and so you're like galloping to this tune, and and the tackling is just like, you just see this little guy like shoot his body over to the other guy, and then he like covers him, and then they look like they're just sprawled out, and then that's how he tackles you. And basically the whole game was like running what we know now as kind of the speed option. And
Wow.
and then you could like aim downfield to like shoot the ball downfield as a pass, but it was so hard to throw downfield passes in this game. Anyways, 10-yard fight was my first ever football game, and I used to act like I was the Raiders, and it was like first grade. Couldn't wait to get home to play 10-yard fight.
Wow.
That football game kind of just started everything. Eventually led to, eventually Madden became one of those games, and
you could have given me a million guesses, and I would have never guessed 10-yard fight on the NES.
It just kind of kicked things off. I mean, I probably would have fell in love with it. I could name the other football games that came after that. I think it was like All Pro Football, and those actually had real players on there. And then on the PC, was my first Madden, actually. Madden 99. I got it as like a gift from a family member, and then our computer wasn't good enough to play it. So I actually didn't play it for like another year because my mom had to like upgrade our RAM or something. But dude, Madden 99 was sick because it had not even the gameplay. You could, like, in the menu, it had videos that Madden narrated, and it was like a recap either of the 98 season or a preview of the 99 season for every team, offense. It might have been offense and defense, but the game had all that. It was freaking sick, and I watched every single one of them. So maybe that should have been my pick. Maybe those are my 2 picks. Number 3, I'm gonna go with a basketball game here, and I'm gonna go with Jordan versus Bird on the NES because
oh my goodness,
it's literally Michael Jordan versus Larry Bird. There's only 2 playable characters, and you're just playing one-on-one the whole time. And I never played with Larry Bird.
How simply amazing old video games were.
Because they had their own custom moves. So like if you're Jordan and you get a breakaway on the half court, he could go up. I never knew how to do it. I would just hit random buttons and eventually he'd do it sometimes. He does a 360 dunk with his legs spread out like the Jordan logo. And obviously Larry Bird can't do that. And I don't know, I actually don't know what Larry Bird's move was. It might have just been like a 3-point motion or something, but if I ever played that game with like my sister or my cousin, I'm like, yeah, I'll be Michael Jordan. You can be Larry Bird. But that was like my first basketball game, so that was pretty cool. That was also NES. So I'm just thinking of like early games that shaped what was to come. Eventually, NBA courtside with Kobe Bryant. And then I got to pick. This was a tough one. I wanted to pick a different baseball game, but I'm going to go NES again. And I'm going. I played a lot of NES.
Apparently, I didn't know this about you. Wow. All right.
So, and I'm pretty sure all these games came in the pack that I got. Like, I don't think I went out and I was too young. I don't think I went out and bought these individually. So, there's 2 baseball games that came in this pack. Actually, there was multiple. One of them was Bases Loaded, and it was like Bases Loaded 2, Bases Loaded 3. And that was more of like a sort of a simulation. You had like 10 teams, everybody like all full names and things like that, and players had certain attributes. But that's not the game I'm picking. I am picking Little League World Series on the NES because I loved and still do love the Little League World Series. And you get to pick your country, and you get to be in a tournament, and all the kids have names. And so that's just funny already because as a little kid, you're like calling out whatever this little kid's name is. So it's like Chester. And I think they only have a first name too. I don't think they have a last name. And and the graphics were actually pretty good. It was like Super Mario quality graphics for the NES. And yeah, got to be California, and it was always the same kids on the same team. So if you came back and played, like you know what players are on which team. So tournament style, that was always super fun. And then I'm gonna go non-sports for my last pick, and this was pretty funny. We got this game in a cereal box. So cereal boxes back in the day used to give like free CD-ROM video games. It was like, if you get like an AOL disc in the mail, and well, in a cereal box like Honey Nut Cheerios, there was like 5 games that could possibly be included in this box. And one of them was like Beauty and the Beast, one of them was like Aladdin, and the only one that I remember getting, and we played it so much, the whole family played this, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on the PC.
Wow. Yeah, that is a great pick. We had that on PC too. Wow.
Dude, so this is like early days, like desktop computer, computer time is huge, and you put this thing in, and it was like a whole game, like hella questions. Regis Philbin is in the game, and you get to like pick your name, and it's exactly like the TV show. You start at the bottom, like you're trying to work your way up to $1 million. You get 3 lifelines, and it was a competition between our family, who could get to the million. And the questions were not easy.
No.
Like if I could get halfway up the thing, I was happy. And this is before really like being able to Google shit hella fast. And if you didn't know it, you didn't know it. You weren't moving up. There's no way to really cheat the game at that time, at least not for us. I specifically remember one question. It was about like what burger chain had a marketing campaign with the slogan "Where's the beef?" And it was like McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Jack in the Box. And that one has always stuck with me because I knew it, and then I would see it every now and then when I kept playing the game. It was Burger King.
It's Wendy's.
And there was just a lot of those like weird questions and facts in that game that I think I would love to go back and see which ones I just still know,
instinctually know.
But, like my mom would be up at night trying to beat it, and then I would try to top how far she got, and it was a free game too. It came in a cereal box. I'm sure there must have been some like thing where they wanted you to like buy the full game, but no, it was enough to keep us entertained. So that was what, 3?
That was
sports.
Three NES sports games, and 3 NES sports games, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh, so I didn't say a 5th?
No.
All right. Tony Hawk Pro Skater on the N64.
Very nice.
I had that at the top. I thought I had already said that. The like being able to explore these different worlds. There was like probably 9 or 10 different maps. You could unlock characters. I remember there being like a hot chick, Private Carrera, was I don't know if she had like fatigues on, like army fatigues, or
it was like
sports
fatigues,
bra, but I remember her being hot.
It was
it
was bikini fatigues.
Like pause it and replay it and try to zoom in on her boobs. And then there was some other guy. It was like was it an officer? There was another unlockable player in that. And then
it was Officer something. I forget his name. It might have been Officer Rick. It might have been his name.
Dude, it might have been. And so the same way you would go to like Porky's and try to get a high score on an arcade game, and then your friend or cousin tries to top it, that was like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like, all right, you get
Yeah.
like 2 minutes or 1 minute on this map, try to do as many tricks as you can, get this score, and then see if your friend can beat you. And the soundtrack was kick-ass. Did I mention the soundtrack? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is like early, maybe like 99, 2000 punk rock days. So there's a lot of like good semi punk rock, semi grunge, semi almost ska
Yeah.
in that soundtrack.
Man, yeah. That opening soundtrack for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 was amazing.
Yeah. I was always Rune Glifberg because I loved the Christ air trick that he did, where he's just like, he's on a half pipe, and then when he goes up, he comes completely off the board, and he's holding the board out like this, and you could like spin around holding it out.
I liked Alyssa Steamer because she could do the backflip.
I don't even remember who that is.
It's the only girl in the game, Alyssa Steamer, outside of Private Carrera or whatever her name was. She was the only girl skater in the game, and she could do a backflip.
And there would be like hidden stuff. I remember in the Area 51 level, you could open up a gate somehow. I think if you like flew into the gate, it would pop open, and there's like an alien or an alien spaceship in there.
Yeah.
There's like little hidden stuff like that. That was really cool.
Amazing.
And I think there was codes too. Like you could input secret codes to get like no gravity or unlimited rail grinds. Like,
yes.
because you have to balance your grinds, but if you put this code in, you just get perfect grinds every time. Or faster spins on your varials. Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah, I may have a future story about no gravity cheat codes in a video game in my list. I couldn't believe you brought up no gravity.
Oh shit. Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. Because I wanted to bring up more on cheat codes, but yes, please go ahead.
So that's Rick's confessions of the video games that shaped him. 3 sports NES games. Who wants to be a millionaire out of a cereal box?
I'd say
the great Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
4 of those are really confessions.
Yeah, those are some serious confessions. I had no idea about that about you. So my 5 confessions, all these games came out between when we were the ages 7 and 12. And the number 1 on my list is Pokemon Red version on Game Boy Color. You can play it on the original Game Boy, but it's on the Game Boy. That was my first introduction of just constant video game playing at any time, any place, anywhere you're at, because you had the Game Boy Color. And so Pokemon Red version, and it gave you the start of choosing your favorite Pokemon, the starting 3 between Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur. And I was always a Charmander guy. Always a Charmander guy. Because Charizard is my favorite Pokemon of all time.
Mm-hmm.
The potential of having a Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was just my introduction, just constantly having like video games at my fingertips at like 7 years old when I had Pokemon Red version. Like I think later on, like that next year, my mom got me Blue version as well, because there's like certain Pokemon you could only get in each one. And I have a little surprise for you. I still have my original Game Boy Color from 1998 and Pokemon Blue version.
It's so tiny.
Yeah. Still have it. Still works.
Where's the red version at?
I have no idea where the red version is. I don't know why.
Was that already in the Game Boy, or did you find like other games too?
I found that was in the Game Boy. I still have like the original Tetris from the original Game Boy, but yeah.
So dude, that's so crazy that's kind of like where we've come from in like our video game history. Because I remember as a kid taking Tetris on an airplane, going on a trip with my mom and her friend, and that was like, yeah, one of my first video games. Maybe my first video game ever might have been Tetris.
Last time I was on a flight, I brought my Game Boy Color and Pokemon Blue version, and the person sitting next to me couldn't believe it when I brought that out of my bag. And it's just
a good one.
This old man is just playing Pokemon Blue on his Game Boy Color.
Sick. Yeah, I like that.
Can't believe it still works. Number 2, let's go to the cheat codes and gravity. My number 2 is not Pro Skater 1, it's Pro Skater 2. I played Pro Skater 1 a lot, but Pro
Hmm.
Skater 2 was something else. That was the first game you could create your own skater. You
Oh
couldn't
yeah.
do that in Pro Skater 1. And
Hmm.
the soundtrack was just as good as the first game. The maps were very similar, but just a little bit updated. And that was like I had it on PlayStation 1, and I played the hell out of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. And um, a kid from our elementary school called the house one day. I was I wasn't playing the game at the time, but my mom's like, "Oh, Bubba, the phone's for you." I'm like, "Who's calling me?" I'm like 10 years old. Nobody calls me. And
Damn.
it's Joe Alamon from Del Rey. And he goes, "Hey man, I got these get a pencil and paper. I have these cheat codes for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2." And
Nice.
for like 6, I don't know what,
Oh, I need a
we were
pencil and
friends
pad, mom, fast.
fast. Like we were friends, but like I didn't think we were phone call friends at 10 years old. So I'm writing down all these different cheat codes like perfect balance and all that stuff. And one was and he was like, "You have to try this one first," and it was no gravity. And so
Whoa.
you just jump up and you hold X and you just do all these tricks in the air, and you just get like a couple like 100 million points or whatnot whenever it would max out. And it was just the coolest thing. It was like, yeah, Joe Allman called me about the no gravity cheat and told me to hop on and play Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 to use the gravity cheat.
What a boy, man. That is clutch right there. The dude had your number somewhere, and that's what he thought of when he got the codes. Was
Yeah, I looked it up
I
at a
got a
Del
tell
Rey
Paul.
yearbook and gave my home phone a call.
Damn, life was
Yeah, way to
sweet.
look out. Yeah.
You know those like tweets that are like, it's a summer night. You just got home from Blockbuster. You just rented Tony Hawk Pro Skater. You pop it in. The Domino's pizza's ready. Uh, the date is May
Life is
21st, 2025.
amazing. So going on to the next game is my sister had an N64. So I had the PlayStation 1 and my sister had the N64. And my favorite game on N64 was Mario Kart 64. The replayability of Mario Kart 64, I could play that right now. Like if I had an N64, I would want
Mhm.
to play Mario Kart 64 on it. The levels were amazing, the replayability was amazing, and it's so dang fun. And then later on in life, so that that was like early 90s game on N64. Later on, when I was in North Dakota, when I was in the Air Force and I was in the dorms, um, somebody else had an N64 and he had Mario Kart and he goes, "Let's play Mario Kart drinking and driving," when we had to finish a beer before we finish our 3 lessons. So like then it was just revolutionized. The game that I loved as a kid is now
Yeah.
a game I'm getting drunk at as an adult, and
Mm-hmm.
like it's just still plays. And so yeah, there's something special about Mario Kart 64.
Simple enough
My
to be able to pick up and play, but if you're
exactly.
drinking, it does add some difficulty and adds fun to the
Yeah.
group fun aspect too.
Now this is where like I played Madden 2000. And I originally played Madden 93 on the Sega Genesis with my dad. And that's where like my Madden stuff started. But the Madden that truly shaped my childhood was Madden 2002 with Dante Culpepper on the cover. It is where franchise mode really took off. 'Cause, one of my favorite features is on franchise mode, it was like the 2001 season or 2002 season. And that off season, it was like the year the Houston Texans were going to be a brand new team. And so after your first season, they gave you an option to continue on with your team or take over as the expansion Houston Texans, or you
That's
could create
clean.
your own team in place of the Houston Texans. And so that's like my first like dive into like creating teams and building a roster and building a
Oh,
franchise and all this stuff.
they
And
created a
so
monster there.
yes, they created the Madden 2002 franchise mode created a monster of just all the like how you could just customize everything and my team creations, and it was yeah. So Dante Culpepper, Madden 2002, and then Madden 03. That's when we like really became good friends, and that's when we started doing Raiders versus Raiders or Raiders versus 49ers, because I wasn't a true Raiders fan yet.
Raiders Niners. I come over to your house, played it on the GameCube.
On the GameCube, on my little 19-inch TV in my room.
Good freaking times, man. Mom was making or no, she was putting out like gummy worms, and I remember I don't want to mention any other video games because they might be on your list, but that brought back a memory.
Yeah. Oh, so I know what you're thinking. It's not on my list. I thought of it when you were talking about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and it's not on the list. It should be on the list, and I'll make it an honorable mention.
Cool.
But the number one is it's basically how we got to where we are today. We don't play much video games anymore in our older age. We really just play a baseball game. And
yeah, I can only fit one baseball or one video game in my life.
Yeah, just don't have the time to play games like we used to. We try to make as much as possible, and so this game kind of led us to where we are today. And it's MVP Baseball 2003 with Randy Johnson and Miguel Tejada on the cover. That just got me so into baseball. It's because like baseball video games weren't that great beforehand. It was very basic. There was nothing much to it. And the MVP series really dove into like franchise mode and in-depth baseball stuff. And that just kind of like took off from there. So it was MVP Baseball 2003. I got that. I mentioned this story on a previous episode of Card 10 Confessions. I got it from playing on my Little League team. You earned a star for like being best offensive player, best defensive, or having like the best attitude. And the person at the end of the year, whoever had the most stars, the coach would buy them a video game. And I said, I want MVP Baseball 03. And so that's how I got that game, and I fell in love with baseball video game.
It ahead of time, or
No. It was after I won it all. Once they were like, okay, Paul, nobody's going to get more stars than you. What game would you like? I'm like, I want MVP Baseball 2003. He's like, you could have any game you want. You want a baseball game? Like, yes.
Give me Andre Iguodala. Give me MVP Baseball.
Holy crap, we were at 50 minutes, so I will wrap it up with my honorable mention of what Rick was hinting towards was a game where I had some friends over for a party, and we all huddled around the family Dell computer, and we played The Sims.
Dude, The Sims, man. And I believe you had an expansion pack, too, which added, like, different
items. And different clothing, different items. Yeah, man. I love
it was like
Sims.
The party expansion pack. And this is like this is the first Sims, by the way. You know, there's been so many since. No, this is the first Sims package, you know, whatever for the PC. And then there was 2 expansion packs at the time, and yeah, I remember you had at least one of them. And that night at the sleepover, shortly after Trenton Salk almost drowned me to death, so I almost died that night. I almost died playing swimming pool basketball. We 2-on-2. I think who was the other person? Was it JA?
JA.
So it's you and
JA who couldn't swim, so he definitely just stayed in the shallow end by the steps.
And I think he was on my team, so I had no help.
You had zero help. It was Trenton and I versus you and JA who couldn't swim in pool basketball.
I was just Stephen Curry for most of the season. Like, just no help, dude. And JA's in the corner of the pool because he can't swim. Trenton Salk is trying to drown me, literally holding me down as I'm underwater. And then you're just cherry picking over by the fucking hoop.
Oh yeah.
And so after I get the water out of my eyes and ears, that night we played Sims. And I just remember, dude, there was like 5 bowls of snacks out, and one of them was gummy worms. I don't remember what the other ones were, but those gummy worms were hit. And that might have been the same night I learned about the cheat code in that game too. Rosebud. Where you get like unlimited money.
Yes, Rosebud.
Dude, we could buy anything we want. Cool.
Wow. I love how we built a house, and it was just a complete bachelor pad. We're like 11 or 12 years old, and it's just bachelor pad of Sims, like exactly what a
Yeah.
dude's house would look like.
You gotta buy all the cool dude shit. And then like the baby's crying, the fucking oven, the stove is on fire, and like one of your Sims, like your sister dies.
You put
And then
one of
you're just
the
like,
Sims in the pool and you take out the ladder so they can't get out, so they swim until they drown.
yeah. Oh, the
Some
Sims is
real
revolutionary.
psychopath shit.
Yeah. That's another thing that contributed to the start of our video game lives. Yeah, that was a good one.
I didn't think of that until you brought up Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I started thinking of PC games, and The Sims and The Sleepover instantly came to me.
Yeah. And then I think that was the first night we that was the first
Go do it. Just tell. This will be our final. This will be our group final confession.
I almost said it in a way that would have sounded wrong. It was the first night that I saw porn on TV. I'll put it that way.
It was one of my first nights I remember seeing it on TV.
Yeah. So the four of us have sleeping bags separated from each other. And I think you had the remote. It's your house. And Trenton and J.A. fell asleep. And was it like Skinamax? And the name of the porno, I remember the name of it. Do you remember the name
of it? Yes.
Soft Sofas.
Soft Sofas.
And I was like, oh my God. And dude, it was exactly like that. There used to be a commercial that came on when we were kids, and it was the same scenario. Like kids are, the lights are off, the kids are downstairs, they got access to the big screen TV, and one of the kids goes, You want to watch something? There's something really good on. And then the other kid's like, what? And then it's to prevent, it's like for parents, like make sure to put a parental passcode on your TV so your kids can't access these channels. Well, that's exactly what we were doing. Like you had the remote, you knew where to go.
My thumb was on the last button in case my mom woke up.
Had to be. Whatever happened to last button on TV remotes?
Right. Where's the back button? I need the last button. It was always set up on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon.
Yeah. I mean, I even had to do that with like Monday Night Raw. I had Nickelodeon on the back button.
Oh my God. Soft Sofas.
So scared that like your mom was going to come out and see us watching that. But
the volume was on like
hilarious. 2. Oh man. Doing a sleepover, watching porn with my best friend.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that I stumbled onto that because that was not going to be my final confession. That had final confession worthiness written all over it. So,
yeah, I think that's a fantastic way to leave it off. The first time we ever watched softcore porn on TV was at my sleepover when we were 12 years old.
One other thing that happened that day that still sticks with me, and this is like reminiscent of Tony Hawk also, the reason I even knew about. So earlier that day we went to Target. My mom took me to Target to get a gift for you because it was your birthday. And then tech decks were super popular at the time, and they still are.
Yes.
I mean, we still love tech decks. And we both played Tony Hawk. And they didn't have the guy I wanted to get, either like Tony Hawk or Rune Glifberg. And so I picked Bucky Lassick. And
one of my favorites. My favorites.
Yeah, Bucky Lassick was pretty cool. He had like a really sick kick flip in the game. And so
I loved my gift. His board art. I loved his art on his deck because it was always like a chicken or something like that. And I always I loved Bucky Lassick. Yeah, it was a type of bird. Because I think he skated for Birdhouse.
Yes, he skated for Tony Hawk's brand.
Yeah, that's why when you showed up with a Bucky Lassick tech deck, I thought that was the coolest thing ever because I loved his decks on Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
But here's why it sticks with me though, because I knew his name was Bucky Lassick, but when you opened it, you went, "Oh, Bucky Lassick, cool!" Oh. Bucky Lassick, or it was Bucky Lazak, something like that.
Oh, I definitely would say Bucky Lassick.
Yeah, Bucky Lassick.
Oh man,
It's just one of those weird things that is like stuck in my memory and I can't get rid of it.
Just 22 years later, that's 23 years later,
I'm
that's still stuck with you.
There's a +1 final confession for you, I guess. But
Whew.
I stumbled on that one too.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I'm going to go watch Soft Sofas.
We tried our best. I'm gonna go play with Bucky Lasik. We're so